Hello, y'all. Welcome to episode 118 of Cocktail Hour. I'm Andy.
And I'm Rev.
And with us is one of our very favorite authors. We have on the fantastically creative and absolutely generous to a fault, Susan Meagher.
Yay.
Susan's like, oh, stop, more.
I love her.
Seriously. So how long has it been since you've been on here? Was it last April last year? It's been a while.
It was. April 2nd, I stopped writing in my notebook. One episode after that, which is why I knew right away which episode Susan had been on.
Wow.
I made her lose the will to write in English.
I did the next one when we did the Thin Man, and then I moved my book and I couldn't find it, and I just located it the other day.
You should have me on to talk about the Thin Man. I watched that movie 45 times.
Oh, we read the book.
We read the book.
And then
Dashiell
yeah.
Hammett.
Yeah, it was entertaining. We enjoyed it. We had a good time.
Cool.
I definitely like the movie better, though.
How can you not love Myrna Loy?
No kidding. That was perfect casting. But honestly, because I was listening to it on Audible, and it was like there were so many she said. It was driving me batty. Seriously.
I still haven't seen the movie.
What?
So good.
It is. It really
Watch
is.
it just for the dog. The best dog. Asta is the best dog.
That's pretty cool, man.
You know, watch it for the dog.
And speaking of Nick and Nora, Andy was just saying that after reading Chef's Special, now she can't wait to get back and read All That Matters again.
Because there's no connection.
but there kind of is. There kind of is in the feel of the story and the depth of experience. And because I found myself thinking the same thing quite a lot while I was reading it too. And Andy and I haven't really talked about. Actually, we haven't talked about our thoughts about the book at all, other than Andy saying, "I just finished. I liked it." And I had finished and said, "I liked it too." So that was all that we.
That's been the entire.
That's all that we know. We try not to talk too much about it.
But yeah, but it gives you that feel, that feel of nothing exists but these two characters, and it was just so enjoyable. And it made me think of how much I enjoyed All That Matters, right? Because you get these two intense characters, and it's just about them. Like you just zoom in, and it's about them, and it's just so much fun. And so that's why I went from that book, the new one, to the older one. But I haven't read.
I have to write something down.
I will.
There you have it.
All right. Well, so as everybody knows, we're here to talk about Susan's new book called Chef's Special. And Susan, do you want to tell everybody what it's about?
It's about cooking and eating and having sex.
Gosh, that does kind of sum it up.
Kind of sums it up, doesn't it? All they do is work and fuck.
That's all they do.
But they do both pretty well, I think.
I think so too.
I can easily see why you would say that this book in particular seems more about two people than anybody else, because their world was pretty narrow.
Mm-hmm.
They really didn't do much except work and have sex and eat.
They did. So is that really that's the synopsis you're gonna get?
Well, it's about two New York chefs who work in a nice little sort of a high-end place in Tribeca in New York, and they're just both very creative, very focused on what they do, which is their love. Cooking is life for both of them. And eventually, not too long into meeting one another, they start having a physical relationship. And that continues on for quite a while until they eventually have an emotional relationship too. And it ends happily ever after.
Yep, that's true.
All you need.
All you need.
It had a great finish. A little bit of angst, not crazy, but a little bit of angst.
Not much angst. A little bit of angst.
Tiny bit. But yeah, I mean, I liked how you really worked these characters. I really,
Thank you.
and it felt really personal to me, and I know that's just me, but it did. It felt really, really, and this is, I think, the first book that I've read that you've written. I can't think of nothing off the top of my head of any other book really that I felt like it was personally written for me. Honest to God, that's how it felt.
Wow,
I'm
nice.
just kidding. But I'm like, wait a minute. French food, kind of
eaten with you, so I do know you enjoy a nice meal.
No, I do. And one of your characters' last names was in one of my stories.
There you go. I copied it from your story.
Yeah, you don't see it all that often, you know.
Emily of the Garden.
The Garden, yeah, Gardner.
Yeah.
Pretty much Gardner, yeah.
Well, I'm really glad that it resonated with you like that.
It did.
I can imagine that it might be harder if you really didn't like food. But
who the hell doesn't like food?
No, wait. You know, it's really interesting that you say that because somebody asked me yesterday or the day before if there's a lot of food talk in it. And I said, I guess, I mean, both of the main characters are chefs and a lot of the scenes take place in a kitchen. And
right.
So, you know, there's a lot of, you know, mentioning of dishes and stuff. And she said, okay, I don't think that one will be for me then.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah. So there are people who don't want to read about food.
You betcha.
I'm not one of them. So, you know, it's
actually one of my friends who is also a writer said, oh, it's about chefs. And I said, yeah. She said, I'm not going to read that.
Really?
Thanks for giving so much thought.
A cooking class, for crying out loud.
Thanks for giving us so much thought to something I spent a year and a half. Oh, chefs? Ugh. God damn. I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever heard somebody say, I wrote a new book and it's about, you know, an accountant. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I hate numbers. God damn it, I'm not reading that shit.
I did hear there was somebody who I think might be on the show right had said something about reading a book about race car driving, and I believe she said something like, I don't read no fucking book about race cars, about NASCAR or whatever. I believe I might be right. I don't know. But you know, everybody's got their tastes.
If somebody I generally liked their work wrote about race cars and they had a passion for it, why not?
Yeah, why not?
I wouldn't watch a race car if I had to, but somebody could make me want to. You know?
I guess it depends on how much, on how centered the story is on that thing. But again, like you said, if they're passionate about it and they write well,
yeah,
and can get you, you know, you may even pick up a new hobby.
Yeah,
yeah.
Unless, of course, I read Moby Dick, and I'm not that into whales.
The whale prevails.
God damn, there's a lot about whales. Woo.
What are you drinking today, Susan?
I am drinking scotch.
You're drinking scotch. Are you drinking it neat?
I'm drinking it on the rocks, but the rocks are fake. So,
the ones that won't water down your drink.
Yeah, they don't water down your drink. They're literally rocks. They're little pieces of granite.
Nice. Look
yeah,
at you.
I've seen those. They sell those on ThinkGeek, just in case anybody's looking for them. They sell them on ThinkGeek. How does that? How do they work? Hold on, let me put that thing on you. There, put that back up, Susan.
They work because I guess granite gets cold.
So do you put them in? Do you keep them in the freezer? Or you just
the rocks in the freezer, and then you just toss them in your drink when you're ready to go. And it doesn't make it very cold. It just takes a little of the warmth off.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and they look kind of cool.
They do look cool.
They do definitely look cool.
Although
your cool factor is way up today, just saying.
It does kind of look like there's just dirt floating in your glass, but
that's too deep.
If you recall, that is what Blake and Emily drink the first time they're sitting in Blake's office.
Yes, she has some good scotch in her
Got some good
office.
scotch with a little peat in it. So I'm drinking a slightly peaty scotch.
Single malt too. Nice.
It's from Isla.
From where?
Islay, Isla.
Okay.
It's an island
Okay.
in Scotland.
All right,
And you're drinking a white wine?
I am drinking a little white wine. I have the bottle here next to me.
Is it like Zinfandel? What are we talking here?
No, it's I believe this is a Sauvignon Blanc. Yes.
What, you hide the bottle in the drawer like you're an alcoholic? What the hell's going on?
No, I have it in an ice bucket with some
okay.
ice in there because it was still kind of warm.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I prefer it chilled.
I
Chilled. I like it. All right, so
Would you like a quick tip for chilling your own wine?
Heck yeah.
sure.
Take a dish towel and wet it, wrap your bottle in it, and put it in the freezer, and it'll be cold in 15 minutes.
I forgot that. I think somebody told me that not that long ago.
It really
and
works.
I forgot. I'll have to remember that. I just threw the bottle in the freezer for 20 minutes and then it still wasn't cold enough.
It works much faster if you wrap it in a wet towel, but the towel's got to be wet.
All right. I'll remember that for next time. So I'm going to talk about the book. Can we talk about the book?
Absolutely.
Talk about it some more.
Huh?
Trying to keep the spoilers down there, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's only one spoiler that I don't want revealed. Everything else, I don't care.
And I bet I
we
knew
didn't
which
talk
one
about
it is.
that before. What is it?
You know, the thing with the baby and the snake?
Oh, right. Okay, gotcha. Okay, is it the thing that happens to Emily?
It's the thing that happens to Emily. Yeah.
Okay, like the big thing that happens to her. That kind of
The big thing.
Okay.
The life-changing big thing.
All right. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So.
I know that's all you want to talk about now.
Well, no, but I did want to talk about how interesting that was and ask you some questions about it. But okay,
You're not.
we can work with this. It's fine. Okay.
I guess it doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to read the book.
No. That was a good no. Don't talk about it because that was
All right.
really surprised. I didn't see that one coming.
All right. Okay.
All right. Well, so I'm going to give I might just maybe expand a bit on some stuff about about the book, some key things maybe that I don't think are spoilers. They come up pretty quick. So Emily, first of all, both of these women are out. There's no I used to be straight or I'm with somebody, and there's none of that.
Nope.
So they're both out, and has heard about the restaurant that Blake works in called Blake or Blake's. Is it Blake or Blake's?
Singular.
Okay, Blake. So so she's hired pretty quick. Blake is impressed with her. I really liked how you so she's a sous chef, and she is working with another sous chef whose name is Grant, and he's kind of a lazy dick. But I like that Emily figures out how to deal with him pretty quickly. One thing that I wanted to so anyway, hold on, I get ahead of myself. So you mentioned that they pretty quick within a few weeks, I think, or maybe a month or two they get.
She starts there in August, and they have their first roll in the hay in December. I mean, late December.
Okay, that's something else that we should talk about. That we should mention. A lot of time actually kind of goes by pretty quickly. Like it starts here, then 2 weeks later, or then in in November, so things move pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, 2 years pass in the book.
Yeah, that's right, because there's the first most of it, and then they're kind of dating. They've known each other for a year, dating for 6 months or what have you, and then there's kind of a jump.
Time really passes.
Yeah, but I think one of the things that I really liked about this is that because the story was primarily, I mean, it really was pretty focused on the development of their relationship and how things change for them. There's a lot of discovery about both of the characters. We get to learn a lot about Blake. Which I really enjoyed because the story is only told from Emily's point of view.
Correct.
Why did you do that? Because sometimes you do for one person, sometimes you do.
If I think that one person has more secrets or is less able to know herself very well, I tend not to be in her head. And to me, Blake didn't spend a lot of time thinking about anything other than cooking, really.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't reflective in that way. She wasn't, oh, I wonder how Emily's feeling. It's more like, I wonder if Emily wants to come over and do it. She was much more focused and more visceral than she was cerebral. And being in someone's head, if they're not very cerebral and not very emotional, there's not a lot there.
That makes sense. Emily was definitely
Emily's
more
all up in her head.
Yeah.
So being in her head, I think, is more rewarding.
And it also the way that we learned about Blake through Emily,
Right.
And there was a lot of revelations that like, oh, okay, well, the way that they would discuss the relationship, the way that Emily would say, you know what, I know that you don't know how to do this, so
right.
I'm going to help you out here. You need
right.
to do it. And Blake, you're absolutely right, because I couldn't imagine being in Blake's head for relationship stuff. It would have been kind of like, wait, hold on. Okay, so you want me to call you because
What? Call you?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to have sex. Why would I call you for what? What would we say?
Nail that one.
You want to have phone sex or what? Because what?
But it was really, watching Blake mature in a relationship and watching her kind of like have those light bulb moments, like, oh, okay, I get you. But to be fair, she really was incredibly supportive.
Incredibly.
And wanted nothing but for Emily, as well as everybody else on her crew, to be successful.
Well. Yes.
Yeah. I was really surprised by that. She's got this explosive, chef personality.
Yeah.
Super, she fires somebody for some kind of ridiculous, but I get it, reason.
Ridiculous reason. Yeah.
But finds him another job someplace else.
Immediately on the phone until 2 a.m. finding him a job. Yeah.
So even though we don't get to be inside of Blake's head, I really felt, in some ways, I don't know. In some ways, I kind of got her more.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes very possible. Yeah, because you don't always see yourself the way others see you, and because Emily was thinking about her practically, 12 hours a day, you got her perspective a whole lot. And I think maybe she sees Blake better than Blake sees herself.
Mm-hmm. I definitely would agree with that.
Yeah.
There were.
But I don't want to make it sound like Blake was a big dummy. She
No.
wasn't in any way. She's really quite bright, but she's not emotion is not her main. That isn't where she goes first.
Yeah.
But when it came to certain things, she was very emotional.
Yes.
Those certain things with her family and the thing that happened to her in high school, which that I was kind of surprised by that, and I think I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised by Blake's response to it. I get it. I understand why she would feel that way, but I like that you presented both sides of that coin. You know, so Blake definitely, she was kind of relationship stupid because she had never had one.
Right.
And I
just
felt that
just as background, Blake left home between 15 and 16 to move to France to learn to be a cook. And she was kind of emotionally stopped right there because from that point on, she didn't have a relationship with anybody. She had sex with people, but she didn't have a relationship. And being away from your home and your family and your language and your customs and everything, I think she just kind of got stuck there for a long time.
I mean, the cooking, that was all that she had. She didn't have anybody, and that became her focus. And she was super focused on that.
Focused.
Yeah, I really liked Blake a lot. There were a few times when I really just wanted to just shake the shit out of Emily. You know, is more toward the end of the book. You know, once she goes into that new job, I just mostly wanted to hit her all the time. I still liked her, but I don't want to give anything away.
She had a self-sabotaging part of herself that Blake didn't have at all. Blake didn't self-sabotage at all, but Emily kind of did.
You're speaking of when Emily was down on the island, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. I did want to smack her every time. Yeah, every time she did some bonehead move, I'm like, oh, you want to scream. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and there, you know, like Andy said, there was a small bit of angst, and I'm glad that didn't last very long because I was kind of yelling like, oh my God, no, finish the conversation. Don't just say, okay, it's fine, we'll deal with that. No.
Well, there's a period, like a 4 or 5 month period, where they were physically apart and they didn't have the time to get together.
I think one of the things that bothered me is that everybody put that on Blake. Like, well, how come Blake ain't coming to see? Well, you know how to fly. Take your ass over there.
And it's actually easier to get a ticket to New York than it was at that point of the year to get to the Caymans. So, damn it!
Oh, I highlighted some what I found some interesting things. Some of it's dialogue, some of it isn't. But one of my favorite lines out of this was, Blake was unable to take the smirk off her face. I'll listen to Sarah McLachlan when I want to daydream about angels and kittens. To cook, I need to rock. They were talking about listening to music and cooking. I thought that was awesome.
It's hard to cook in a professional kitchen listening to Sarah McLachlan. I just
right.
So.
So I got a really big kick out of that. I want to thank you for that line. I was cracking that when I read it.
You're welcome. No dissing on Sarah McLachlan, but
but I could see the point, honestly.
Yeah.
They had opposite musical tastes.
A little bit, yeah. Emily was a little bit of a second generation hippie, and feminist music, more women's music, much more than Blake was. Blake didn't have a whole lot of that.
So, that was a nice touch too. I mean, that's something that came up regularly. But they listen to some classical also?
They didn't want to, but they were in the car.
Oh, that's right.
And there was nothing else. If you ever tried to drive in New York and you only have a radio, it's bad. The only station you can get is classical.
I would be okay. They took away our only classical station several years ago. I was very upset about that. Before we go any further, I wanted to say hi to Anne. She's here and said hello.
Hello, Anne.
So before we get much further, Susan is going to be doing a giveaway. for either an ebook or a paperback, and we'll put a question up on the website, which will encourage me to be sure to post the show on our website, because since we've gone to YouTube, I've gotten very lazy with that. So there you go. There you go.
Why lie?
There you go. No, I own my stuff. I own my stuff. So we'll have to come up with a question. Like right now, but everybody would have had to have read it. So there's hard. It does. So there's a song that Blake does when she's depressed, and she's and I just wanted to say that I knew what that song was from the 2 lines you had in there. And it made me feel very superior that I knew what that song was until it got stuck in my head. And even now I can't get it out of my head.
I love that song.
but it has replaced the Nationwide commercial jingle that had been running around in there for an hour before the show.
I think that's a really good kind of depressed, I feel bad about everything song.
It is. I think that Andy's like, I don't know what song it is. So I
don't remember. Holy shit! I read the story like a week and a half ago, and my memory shit.
Yeah, it was.
We'll talk about it offline.
It was the you're so fucking special line that did it. Yeah, it's a good song. So is there? Okay, so there was a lot of there's a lot of New York stuff.
It is very New York-y.
So, did you like all of the different restaurants and buildings and neighborhoods and things like that? I know that you like to research your stuff and go to places and see things.
Those are all places I go have been. I even went out to Emily's neighborhood in Jackson Heights, Queens, on a really snowy day last winter, and I trooped around that entire neighborhood for the entire day. Had lunch, got some pupuseria, got some went to the little ethnic restaurants in the neighborhood, and there was a guy across the street, 2 guys with those dog de Bordeaux, which is the big attack dogs that gang members now like in New York. They're huge. They're like pit bulls, but big, taller, bigger, beefier, brawnier. And these 2 guys were keeping people off the sidewalk. They stood in front of this building with these 2 massive dogs. And I was like, that's their turf. They're selling drugs out of that house, and they don't want anybody to come by. So that was a reality. So I really enjoyed that part of the book, and that comes really early where Emily is talking about how she doesn't really worry about anything bad happening to her in that neighborhood. Drug dealers next door.
Because the drug dealers don't want any problems, so they keep everything good.
And if she could have possibly afforded a car, she wouldn't worry about anybody breaking into it.
Right. So did that scene come for you before you took the trip, or was that a result of your trip? No, I
saw those guys, and I saw all the streets in that neighborhood, and I saw you were just knocked over by the different foods, because Jackson Roosevelt Avenue there is just one little place after another, and they're competing. It's Pakistani and Peruvian and El Salvadorian. Everything's jammed in there together. So there's this miasma of smell that comes off that street early in the morning. And I just thought of her leaving her building and smelling all of that, and then saying hello to the drug dealers and hello, hello, fellas.
So there are a few other locations in the book. We've got some Detroit stuff. I
actually went to Detroit on a little fact-finding mission to make sure they were in the right neighborhood.
Really? So you didn't want to rely on Google Maps.
I did not want to rely on Google Maps. I wanted to make sure they were in a neighborhood that looked like it was, had some yuppies starting stuff,
Gentrification in full swing.
Yeah, as Blake says, her grandmother said you're urban pioneers, and she's like, that implies that there was nobody here before.
Yeah,
We're not pioneers here in Detroit. This was not undeveloped land.
I like the way that she got her grandfather under control. That was good.
Throw him a piece of meat.
So now, what about the Caymans?
I have been to the Caymans only once, but I have a friend who was born in Bermuda and has spent a large amount of time since then in the Caymans, and she was my go-to.
And then what about the when Blake went home? I don't recall. I can't recall the name.
Cowes Cobb, Connecticut.
And you've been there.
Oh sure. Oh sure.
Have you ever written about a place that you have not been?
I wrote about Rehoboth Beach when I'd only been there once, and I hadn't.
Well, but that still doesn't count because you'd been there.
Yeah, but I
And
hadn't
that-
really
like-
investigated it.
Oh, okay,
And
so
someone who lived in Rehoboth said, "Oh, you wrote about Rehoboth?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, it's obviously you've never been there." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." So since then, I'm making a point.
oh my God, another book about Rehoboth? Fuck that! I don't want to read that shit.
Yeah, I'm not writing about Rehoboth ever again.
And that book was The Legacy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I needed things to happen, and I wanted people to be in a certain place, so I just said they were there, but not thinking that people who really live there are like, that's not there, and it bothers people. It really does.
So you went to West Virginia when you did Almost Heaven?
Yeah,
I don't remember that. Okay, cool.
yeah. I've been to West Virginia many times.
All right. Okay.
I like it.
Now I've got that goddamn John Denver song.
Oh yeah, don't start with that. Let's get back to you're so fucking special.
Thank you. That's better.
I'm a
Thank you.
freak. I'm a weirdo.
What the hell are you doing here?
What the hell is I doing here? I don't belong here.
This is a bonus show.
Right?
Bonus show
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
with the stylings of Susan X.
Got a little
Carter.
All right, so ultimately, it's a good long book.
It's long.
But I kept telling a couple of my friends, and I think I told Andy that this book felt so much like All That Matters and Almost Heaven, and it felt and the right time. It's just it felt like all of my favorite kind of, it had that same feel. So it was good. I really liked it. I really
More
liked it.
immersive and more in depth.
Yeah, and the characters had great chemistry.
Yeah.
They really did.
Yeah.
And I did find the chef stuff and the kitchen stuff and the politics that go along with working in a kitchen and working, the differences between Blake, her restaurant and working at the cafes, the bistros. It was really interesting. And I could
Just
tell
in case anyone's wondering, there's no recipes. You don't start at one thing and you go all the way through. And I'm making a roux. It will only take me 20 minutes. Hold on, I'm browning the butter. Yeah, there's none of that.
No.
It's not just how to cook. You're not going to know how to cook when you're done.
No, there really
You don't want to be a
wasn't.
cook, but
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot of in-depth cooking anything. It was more that chef asked for these suggestions, or so and so was making this or plating this. It wasn't really. Yeah, it's not like a step-by-step kind of. Yeah.
I tried really hard to make it about the dynamics of working in something that you love so much, and you're also trying to make a living at it, which I find much more interesting than cooking itself. You know what I mean? It's a different thing.
And how little profit margin there is.
And that is true. I did a lot of research on restaurants, especially that type of restaurant. You can make so much more money having a hamburger stand than you can that type of restaurant.
Isn't that crazy?
But there's so many people, right?
There's so many people. The food costs are so high. Their margin, what, 6%? Something
I think it said 5%.
Between 5 and 6%, which is nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Your margin on a burger restaurant can be 15.
The one of the things that I found really interesting about this is, I mean, Emily is super poor. I mean, when she's working at Blake, she's super poor. You know, like she can't afford to really, you know, do anything but Subways. And
a sous chef in New York right now at a good restaurant is going to be lucky to make $60,000. Now that sounds like a lot of money.
Not New York,
but in New York, that is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you're working 15-hour days.
That's one of the other things. That's one of the things I really liked about this book is that, you know, when I was reading it, I really felt like I understood where she was at, the stresses that she had. But it didn't, you know, we weren't beat over the head with it or anything like that. We just kind of lived it with her.
And it's more of a physical beating than emotional, you know, because you leave it all behind. At least Emily did at the end of the day. It's over. We're never going to make that halibut again, you know, but you've been on your feet since 9 a.m. and now it's after midnight.
That's
and it's, you know, 95 degrees in the kitchen every day. They take their shoes at the end of the day and they drain the sweat out of them. That's hard work.
You have to love that work. You have to love it.
And the problem that I think one of them mentions towards the end of the book is there are fewer and fewer people who are following through. You know, they want to go to cooking school, but then they don't want to take that first job because it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
The other thing that you bring up is the rise of the celebrity chef and how that's impacted the industry also.
Everybody just wants the cooking show. They want to make a name for themselves, stop cooking, and get a show.
Yeah.
It doesn't help you if you want to go out to eat because, you know, you can watch them cook on TV, but there's nobody in the kitchen when you go to get a whale. But
you know,
that upper level, you know, not the $5 sign restaurant, but the $3 sign, the $3.50 sign restaurant. Those are the ones that are going by the buy side. They can't afford the rent. They can't afford the staff. They just can't get it together. Those restaurants in New York are closing by the raft loads.
Wow. That's sad.
I know. So we have cheaper things and much more expensive things.
I never go out. It made me sad, actually. I would like to go to a restaurant and order something. I guess. I mean, there are a lot of good restaurants where I live. I mean, not anything like New York or Chicago, but I can't afford to go anywhere, and I'm too tired and never have time.
What are you going to do?
Andy's going to come over next week and cook for me, so that's going to be my treat.
That's her vacation.
Right.
I said to Sherry, look, as soon as you pick me up from the airport, we're going back to your house. You're going to stop by Whole Foods because I got to pick up supplies.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
We're gonna do that, and then we're going to Costco on Friday. Just putting that out there.
You already got your whole weekend planned.
Well, it's our we're having a party on Saturday.
Yeah.
So our 30th anniversary.
Nice.
Yeah. So get some family together, some family and some friends
Really
together.
nice. Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, so I really like this damn book. Huh?
You have your caterer.
We're
bringing in a caterer.
We're having Qdoba cater.
Nice.
It's quick and easy, and there's something that everybody likes. So,
Everybody likes.
So what's next? What's next?
Golly, I have 2 books that I have done the 3rd draft on both of them. I have 1 book that I've done a 1st draft on, and I'm flipping a coin between the 2 books that I've done multiple drafts on to see which one I'm in the mood to finish. I think the one I'm going to finish is about Hollywood and celebrity and behind the scenes people in the film industry.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It does.
One's an animal trainer and one animal wrangler, and one is a hairstylist.
I don't know why that makes me laugh, but
and maybe the one who's a hairstylist can cut the hair of the animals that the other one is wrangling.
That's kind of what,
I haven't written that scene yet. I'm going to get right on that.
That was kind of what popped into my head, you know? Yeah, interesting.
Well,
that's cool. You know, I don't ever read anything about an animal wrangler before.
I don't think they're very common.
It's a contemporary piece.
Oh, it's quite contemporary. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the other one about? Are you ready to talk about that?
Oh, sure. The other one is about that I've been writing for God knows how many years. This book, I think I started writing this book 8 or 9 years ago. And it has changed 180 degrees twice. So it's 360. It used to be about a completely different thing. And then it was about something else in the middle, and now now I'm done. It's about a Maine guide, you know, that in Maine you get a license to take people out. There are 4 or 5 different kinds of guides you can be, you know, sailing, sea, snow, ice, fishing, hunting, whatever. A Maine guide who takes people out, and one of the people she takes out is involved in a accident, and it's sort of how they get through that and how they progress as a team. So there's a lot of angst in that one.
Lots of angst, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was asked to ask you about any of the San Fran books coming out. If there's a new San Fran book on the horizon.
There is probably
Hissif. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You can call it whatever you want. There'll be one in, I believe, mid-February.
Oh, so not very far.
Not very far at all. I usually put them out with a standalone book, but I did not get my shit together to do that this time. So
I'm sure your readers will forgive you.
Well, what I like to do is after I finish a book and after it's been edited and after someone has proofread it, I like to take it and listen to it. But when I listen to it, I have to look at the text at the same time, or I don't catch all the stuff.
Oh, okay.
And if you listen to something slowly while you're reading it at the same time, it takes at least 10 days to do.
Wow.
At least. So I just finished that.
Okay. All right. Well, cool.
Then I made some corrections and I went back and I was like, there's an error. God damn it. So then I kept reading. I'm like, 2 pages later, there's another error. God damn it. So then I had to read the whole thing again.
I think it's impossible to catch them all.
It's impossible. I mean, I pay 2 different people to do the editing. Then I do it myself, and then I still find errors.
Yeah,
you still catch stuff. Wow,
it happens. They sneak by.
Because I can only do about 4 hours a day, or I go batty when I'm doing that fine proofreading, because I'm really looking at every word, and I'm like, how do I miss stuff? I'm looking at every word.
Your brain fucks with you.
My brain is not. So that literally took me 10 days to do.
wow.
And I didn't have it, and I just couldn't get it together to do it.
What letter are you on?
I'd be on ooh.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
Ooh.
So all the way to Z, huh? Do you got that all planned out?
I do.
Yeah.
Wow.
You gonna go farther than Z, or is Z gonna be the end? You're gonna hit the zenith and be just zoom. That's
The
it,
zenith
right?
is the end. Yeah, yeah. People are always saying go to a different alphabet. I'm like, well, there's no rules. If I wanted to keep going, I could. I don't have to create a new alphabet.
Just AA.
Yeah, I don't.
The
have
first one
someone
is called
watching me
Aardvark.
who's prohibiting me from going on, but you know, at some point you just gotta wind the shit up. Yeah, the one about Maine is the one that I've worked the hardest and the longest on. But I think I'm gonna do the one about Hollywood next. I think.
Nice. I like both the ideas. Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then the one I just did a rough draft of during NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, for which I just got the T-shirt.
Look at you with a T-shirt.
I got a T-shirt. That one is about, it takes place in Scotland. That's why I'm drinking Scotch. And that is about a tour guide in Scotland and a woman who works for the very thinly veiled Procter & Gamble. Instead of having her in Cincinnati, I moved her all the way to Columbus because I'm getting crazy.
Did you go to Columbus to check it out?
Actually, Carolyn's father lives about 50 minutes from Columbus.
Oh, we've been there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm going again because I placed her in a neighborhood called Victorian Village, and I've never really looked around Victorian Village, so I have to go back and look around.
Gotta go.
You gotta go.
Gotta go.
Gotta. But even so, you can go to a place 100 times, and you're gonna get something that someone who lives there says that's not true. That street's one way. You can't go down that street. Crazy.
I really wish people would research the books before they write them. It's just, it's horrible. I mean, Google Maps, that's all you got to do to know that it's a one-way street. So from now on, before you write anything about any streets, you really need to look at them.
Or just don't have them drive. Have them be in a hoverboard. You can go either direction.
That worked for Chef's Special, right? I mean, you had nothing but Ubers and
they never drove it. Well, they drove the Cos Cob that time.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. They got that rental car. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun book, Susan. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I'm going to reread this. It's on my reread list.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Andy, it also made me want to read Cooking on High.
Oh, right. Yeah, creme brulee is Cooking on High.
Yeah.
For different reasons.
I think I haven't read that since we did it for that show, like the first year we just started doing this podcast.
I read it that was our very first show.
Was it the first one?
Yeah. we did Seduction of Moxie and Cooking on High. I reread Cooking on High at least once a year, sometimes twice, 3 times. It's a really sad, depressed year.
Wow.
Does creme brulee write anymore?
No, and we never found out what her real name was. So
she was a good writer.
Yeah. I liked Faster Pussycat. Also, that was a good one too.
Yeah,
I didn't read that one.
It's good. It's a Women on the Lam, I believe, if I remember correctly. But it is really short. I mean, it wasn't anything like Cooking on High. But so now because we read this book, I want to read All That Matters. I have to read. If I read All That Matters, I also have to read Almost Heaven, because then I have to do which one is my favorite again.
Yeah, there's no question.
But now I also have to throw in the right time into that mix, because now I've got a pretty tight 3-way race going.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That was a good one. Yeah, I like that retooling you did very, very much, Susan.
Yeah.
But now if you read this one again, this one might go in the rotation.
It very well may.
Well, I can knock out. I knocked out 97 books in 2016, so I think I can fit all of them in.
You got time.
I can do them all.
You can do it.
Oh, and a friend of mine was rereading The Right Time and sent me a message talking about it's the only book that I didn't want to fuck a mother.
I don't know. You couldn't do Townsend's mom.
No, I didn't want to do her. But I said I would do Hennessy's grandma because she.
I think you should do Hennessy's mom, Maybelle Pikes. You and Maybelle fighting over a pack of ghouls.
Oh my God, Sherry, your face was hilarious. That was awesome.
No.
You didn't want? Did you want to fuck any of these people's mothers?
That's what I was just gonna ask him. Like, were we gonna play the game?
Blake or Emily's mom do it for you?
Oh, probably not Blake's mom, even though she was probably the more attractive, physically attractive of the two. Yeah. But I really liked Emily's mom.
Yeah, and she's a restaurant critic, and she could get you a free meal. Duh.
Sold.
All you have to do is some form of lesbian sex, and you're going to be eating well in Detroit.
Twice.
Ba-dum-bum.
Andy, what about you? We haven't played this. We do.
We haven't played this in forever. Yeah,
I know.
I would take Blake hands down.
I'd take her hands down, hands up, and
she can cook a good meal. She can speak French. Right?
Fluently.
Come on now. That's some hotness going on right there. I'm just saying.
Fluently. Carolyn preferred Emily, and I'm like, huh.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that was nice.
Why? What was her reason?
She just thought Emily was hot. I don't know.
I don't remember what Emily was supposed to look like.
Wasn't she a blonde with a ponytail?
Yeah, she usually had her hair back, yeah.
Oh, and she was blonde?
Yeah. But, I never had her stand in front of a mirror and say, here's what I look like. So she wasn't described very often.
Okay, well, that's because I bet you were thinking about Sherry complaining about the hair. Remember how she complained about looking to the hair?
No.
Yeah.
No. Blake had, she had dark hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I made this on the Goodreads group that I own. I made this romance bingo card to for books that we want to read for January, right? And I got done reading this book, and I was like, "You got to be shitting me! I made the fucking card, and I can't check off any of the boxes with the book I just read." But there's a box for tall brunette, short blonde.
There you go.
Oh, I'm so happy that we had this conversation.
Yes, I had shortish black hair that was wavy.
Right, she had
wavy.
I remember talking about that. Yeah.
Emily had straight blonde hair, went just past her shoulders, and she was a few inches shorter than Blake, but not a lot.
It doesn't matter. She was taller.
Well, stand up a little bit. Yeah.
I love the fact that Blake had to use all kinds of products to get her hair to look like it did.
It looked perfect. That's her secret. That was her dirty secret.
That was awesome.
But I thought the funnier thing was that Emily had to check in the medicine cabinet because she hooked up with somebody once who had lice cream or had a bottle of Quell in their medicine cabinet, so she knew they had fleas or something.
I don't blame her. Yeah, I don't blame her.
It's tough being a chef in New York. It's tough.
It's tough, man. So the takeaway here is, folks that are listening and watching, or watching now and listening later, is go buy yourself a damn book, because it was a lot of fun.
Win yourself a damn book.
There you go.
Or win yourself a damn book. We want to get Susan money, so yeah.
Buy the book, buy the ebook, and then sign up for a chance to win the paperback, the signed autographed, personalized
To your
paper.
home,
That's right.
anywhere in the world.
There you go. So
Yeah.
our next show is what day is our next show?
It is. Oh man, hold on, my phone locked up. I had it up.
My God.
I know it. Damn it.
Oh my God.
I
And
knew you were gonna
I
ask.
don't remember what book we're doing either. We're doing, so the next one is a
fourth?
Valentine.
I think I believe it's the 4th of February, and it's Killing Cupid.
Oh, that's right. I couldn't remember. I know it had a Cupid in it, but I couldn't
You're
remember.
killing Cupid for Valentine's Day?
Yes, and it's
Kind of tragic.
yes, it's Killing Cupid by Louise Voss and
It's a
Mark
joint novel,
Edwards.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's a thriller suspense book because that's what we like to do. And Moody will be back.
Yep.
To read that one. So what day did you say that was? February
I
4th?
believe it's the 4th. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so soon.
So yeah, we don't have anything in print though. We can make it a little later. Stay tuned, gang. We might make it a little later.
Well, I need to do a cutoff date for entrance for Susan's book. So I tell you what, everybody have your comments in no later than February 3rd.
Yes.
And then if it goes later, I'll just include any that show up after that. Okay. And then we don't have a question. Just comment. Tell Susan what your favorite book of hers is, or some other, your favorite setting. Whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
Tell me what book you want me to write next. Tell me, give me an idea for a book.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Idea for a book. Okay. Idea for a book.
I was gonna say your favorite French dish or your favorite food.
No, I like this better. We're helping Susan.
I like how
It'd be great if somebody gave me a fully formed idea for a new book. I'd whip right through that.
There you go. All right. I like the book.
Thank
Susan.
you.
Good job. I liked
Thank
it.
you.
It was good.
My reread rotation now.
So when someone tells you that they're not going to read it because it's about cooking, I hope you have some comebacks, some rejoinders telling them how mistaken they are.
I know. I was in a shitty mood, and I was just like, I don't know. I can't say
Whatever.
anything. Yeah. So so I wanted to ask you. We've got 3 minutes. And I think we've probably asked you this before, but my brain, works so good sometimes. So
Yeah.
I'll ask you again. You've written, I can't even, I don't know how many books have you written?
32.
Oh my God. Okay. So you've written 32 books.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
It honestly is whatever I'm working on.
That's awesome though.
Because it has to be. It has to be what makes you want to get up in the morning and work, right? So
Yeah, makes sense.
It's what is most compelling to you at that minute. It's what's making you sit down for 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day, however long you feel like working that day. It's like being pregnant. You're going to have the most fantastic baby in the world. You haven't even met him yet, but you're sure it's going to be fantastic. Don't you think?
I don't know. I don't know. When my wife was pregnant, I was like, I hope he doesn't turn out to be a serial killer.
I think I might be a little more optimistic than you.
I'm a naturally negative person, Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. But my kid didn't turn out to be a serial killer yet.
Well, not yet, but there's always time.
Yeah, he doesn't have any of the traits. So, but it's okay. So your second favorite then?
There's different things I like about all of them. This one, Chef Special, I love this book. I was depressed for probably close to a week after I finished it and sent it to the printer. I didn't want to let them go.
Oh.
Because when I'm reading them, I'm in their world,
Yeah.
And it was such a nice world. I just didn't want to leave.
Well,
So
good.
Yeah.
it was hard for me to let that one go.
I could have read more of that. I could have. Yeah.
But somebody read it early on and they said there's way too much about food in here, and people who don't like food aren't going to like this. And I'm like, well, then They'll just have to not read it. I don't know what to do.
I didn't think that there was that much about food.
There
You know,
really wasn't, but
I felt like everything that had to do with food was being discussed for another reason.
yes. I never talked about one bit of food that wasn't to show something else.
Yeah, that's what I felt. And when the person asked me about, was there a lot of food talk about it, I had a really hard time.
Remember,
I had a really hard time trying to describe the types of things that, I mean, yeah, I know that there was a lot of food, but I couldn't think of anything that was like just specifically food.
No. Uh-uh.
I mean, there were some Brussels sprouts issues,
Yeah.
but that didn't actually have anything to do with the Brussels sprouts. You
No.
know what I mean?
Or with eating Brussels sprouts. Those did not get eaten.
they did out of the trash, but
That was one for tasting purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks. I'm really glad you guys liked it.
Very much. Very much.
So that's the last two. I don't remember what we did before those, but I know but in April you were here with the right time, and we really, really like that one a lot too.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the next one.
Oh, absolutely. And having you back on.
And I hope you have a fantastic anniversary, and I hope that Andy enjoys her stay.
Me too. Me too.
And I hope you get lots of cold weather, because I know you like it.
Oh my God, I'm looking forward to that.
I think the only time I went for a walk last year was when Andy was here, and she made us walk to the restaurant, and then we walked to the cafe for breakfast, and then later I think it was we walked in the park a little bit.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, it was very cold.
The interesting thing about my that last visit, is every place I wore a short sleeve shirt under my hoodie and my pea coat, right? I mean, like the one I've got on now, just a little short sleeve, shirt. And every place I went, as soon as you walk in the door, you're like smacked in the face with this heat like it's a damn sauna. And I'm shedding clothes like I'm a stripper, I'm going, they're flying everywhere. And you look around, there's people still with their little duck hats on and their parkas and shit, and they're eating and drinking. I'm going, oh my God, how are you people not melting? And I'm sitting there in a sea of jackets and pelts and fleece and everything.
Pelts.
Most people in Milwaukee wear pelts. Last time I went there.
God, I was like, are you crazy? What's wrong with you
trappers
people?
up there.
Everywhere I went, it was a
Well, you'll have to go to Vermont. Last time I went to Vermont, it was about 2 degrees, literally, and the wind was blowing, and I didn't see one person with gloves on, not one.
Oh wow, those are some hardy
folks. Waiting for it to get cold. I'm like, holy crap! I saw people running into the mini mart in golf shirts. Wow,
those are my kind of people.
There's some tough people up there in Vermont.
Andy, next time when you come, we'll go drive around. There are people in shorts and t-shirts out there.
Listen,
just
I'm
not. I will be in sweatshirts. Yes, I had my bear pelt on. It was a little cumbersome during dinner, but I make do.
Listen, I was sleeping in the room that Sherry's recording from. I had the window open and the fan on. It was -12.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would fit right in with Vermont, man. I'm telling you right now.
Crazy.
Crazy.
All right. We need to wrap up because now we're overtime.
Oh my God.
Well, it was fun as usual.
Fun as usual.
Thank you, Susan, for coming on. We love you on. So we'll have you on again.
Thank you for having me.
Talk about your next book, whatever that may be. Whatever title you may. All right. Hasta la vista. Bye, Sherry. We'll see you in a few days.
Bye, Sherry.
See you in a few days. Bye, Susan. We'll see y'all later. Bye.